Okay, from the Red Rocks, southern Utah, Snow Canyon State Park. Welcome, GCN Show!
Welcome to the GCN Show, coming to you live.
Recorded
from Spain.
Yes, coming up this week, the future of bike tech might be fast, but it looks bloody awful. We are going to be looking at the latest trends from a weekend of cobbles in Belgium and discussing whether the UCI need to step in and save the day.
Plus, how one US city has been paying people to ride bikes with impressive effect, how one US rider has smashed the distance ridden in 24 hours, and how in Japan you can knit socks while cycling.
Sounds absolutely delightful. We also have got a mega competition courtesy of Zwift ahead of the grand final of the Zwift Academy coming up this Saturday.
This week in the world of cycling, we learn which rider has become the first person to be sanctioned by the UCI for the crime of celebrating.
Oh, the nefarious rider is none other than Alpecin-Deceuninck's Caden Groves, who, shock horror, raised an arm in triumph after his teammate Jasper Philipsen won the prestigious Kuurne Brussels Kuurne.
€530 that celebration cost him.
Not going to do that again. You might do that again.
You might do that again.
Yeah. Now, we also learnt that being a 9-year-old world champion allows you to ride up the infamous Muur van Herardsbergen without being tackled by security guards.
That is one of the coolest videos that I have seen in quite a long time.
Yeah.
Thanks to Goya's father, Chris, for letting us use the video.
Yeah, one bit of footage that encapsulates almost everything that's so good about cycling.
It really does. Anyway, finally this week, we learnt that not everyone was looking quite as cool as young Goya at the weekend.
No, so omloop Het Nieuwsblad on Saturday, like the opening day of the Belgian Classic, saw some technology being used for the very first time in professional road racing, a helmet that has previously been used in time trials and a group set that has previously been used in gravel.
So what you're saying, Si, is that road racing is so cutting edge, they're using vintage helmets and then gears that you and Alex, I think, have been using for quite some time. Doesn't exactly sound like big budget wind tunnel CFD modelling to me.
No, that does sound, though, like a lot of words that you heard before and have quickly put together in a sentence that doesn't really make sense.
No.
I do get what you're saying, though, and yes, to a degree, I think it's fair to say you are correct.
Oh, thank you very much. Si. What were the helmets exactly, by the way?
So, I think they were Giro Aerohead TT helmets. They were actually launched a few years ago, but they were just using them without the visors.
Yes, so the ones that Visma and Wout van Aert were using. I mean, to be fair to Visma and Wout van Aert, the POC helmets used by EF do look quite similar.
As in they look horrific?
Similarly horrific, yes. I was trying to be more diplomatic than that, to be honest, Si.
Well, I'll be honest, I can't actually stand the look of these helmets in road races. Now, this might be down to age and not exactly being a fashionista, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll get on to your jeans, the Zwift Academy later on in the show, Si.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Now, what I was going to say, though, is that it's made even worse, I think, by the colour choices, isn't it? So EF's are bright pink and Visma's are bright yellow. Or in Van Aert's case, at least the colours of Red Bull.
Still quite bright.
Fractionally cooler.
Silver.
Those helmets would stand out like a sore thumb, wouldn't they, if they were in camo even. Drawing attention to them with the most vibrant colours you could possibly get just adds insult to injury.
You really don't like these helmets at all, Si.
No, I really don't. I mean, they're horrible. They're a horrible advert for our sport, aren't they? And actually, if the UCI did step in and ban them, I would be on their side.
I don't think I've ever heard such a strong stance for you. I mean, you can't even see the fence from where you are, let alone sit on it at this point. Now, the other new tech that was spotted for the first time in road racing was SRAM's Red XPLR AXS group set.
Is that Explore Access?
So, that's not what it said in the script.
Well, I mean no, anyway, don't worry. Yes, this is SRAM, that's SRAM, not SRAM's top-level group set, which they released last year. Now, why are they using it on road bikes? It's a good question, really. A couple of reasons. First, it's 13 speed, which means you can have a really wide range of gear ratios whilst using just one chainring. And having just one chainring means that your bike should be more aero as well.
More aero. And
Yeah.
one of the other things that makes the Explore Axis group set.
Axis Explore, yep.
That's the way around, yeah. What also makes it look different is the fact that the rear derailleur bolts directly onto the frame, kind of negating the need for the derailleur hanger off the back. Have I got that last bit right?
You have, mate, spot on,
Brilliant.
yes. So it's something that actually SRAM invented for mountain bikes originally because they said it was stronger and it gives a better interface between frame and derailleur, so you get more precise shifting. On the road, I mean, I honestly can't see that it's going to make a noticeable improvement to performance. So I think the sole reason the teams were running it was to get access, no pun intended, to those wider gear ratios, wasn't it?
And the aero gains side that you just mentioned.
And therefore the aero gains, yes. I guess the proof is in the pudding, though, isn't it? Now, I didn't actually watch the racing at the weekend.
No.
How did Visma and Little Trek get on?
Well, that is a good question and quite an interesting answer, actually, Si. So in the men's, Visma's best rider was Wout van Aert. He finished 11th.
Oh.
And Lidl Trek's best rider was Matthias Vacek, who came 17th.
OK, and how does that compare to last year?
Last year, between those two teams, they got 1st, 3rd, 5th and 7th.
OK, and what about the women's?
Well, somewhat weirdly, Visma Lisa Bike didn't have a women's team in the race this year. But Lidl Trek's best rider was Chiara Consonni, who came 8th.
And last year?
Last year, well, Visma won it, actually, with Marianne Vos, and Lidl Trek's best two riders were 3rd and 4th.
OK.
I mean, it could have been worse.
How?
So let me check the script on a sec. I've got it wrong. Sorry, it couldn't have gone much worse, I don't think, this year.
OK, that does more sense.
I mean, we joke, of course. All their teams test their equipment to the nth degree these days, I think we can agree. So Visma had been seen testing those TT helmets on road bikes in a velodrome just a few weeks back. But racing's never that simple, really, is it? Aerodynamics and equipment undoubtedly go a long way, but if you don't have the legs or lady luck isn't on your side, the results aren't going to reflect the effort or the equipment.
No. I mean, maybe they just didn't want to photo themselves crossing the finish line first in a mushroom.
A mushroom monstrosity. Yeah, that is a good point, Si.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention, actually.
What's that?
So when journalists asked Matteo Jorgensen of Visma Lisa Bike why they were using those Arrowhead helmets, he said they were trying to mess with the heads of their rivals.
Oh, their rivals? Are you sure it didn't mean mess with their own heads?
Well, hold on a sec, let me just check the script again. No, that is actually what Matteo Jorgensen said to the journalist that day.
You couldn't make it up, could you, really?
I don't think, well, we could do, but people wouldn't believe it. But that is actually what happened. Anyway, over to you at home. Has the quest for speed gone too far? And should the UCI intervene to keep sartorial splendour going?
Or should the UCI just step in and stop people looking at our sport and thinking, what on earth have you got on your
that's a
head?
better way of putting it.
What do you think, actually?
Well, I don't like the look of them.
No.
I'm not sure many people would do, to be perfectly honest.
Well, do you know what? When everyone's complaining about how racing's getting faster and faster and faster and the UCI needs to step in and slow it down, this does feel like a very simple way that would benefit literally everybody if they just banned those ridiculous helmets.
The riders, if given the choice, would say we'd rather, to look better, use a different helmet.
Yeah.
But they're all looking for free speed. You know, it's the marginal gains from many years ago, but it is still a thing today.
Yeah.
And so if they're told by scientists and it's shown to be faster, they're going to choose that, aren't they?
It would be a controversial move for the UCI to step in on the grounds of aesthetics, but I genuinely would champion, like, not all of them, maybe they could consult me first.
I like the thought of UCI President David Lappartient sat at Aigle in Switzerland with just a load of pictures of helmets, like, nope, yeah, that one's all right. No. That's a mushroom monstrosity.
Yeah, he would.
Get rid of it.
I could just imagine that. Well, as long as Adam Hansen's not involved, that's fine. I don't trust that guy as far as I can throw him in terms of aesthetics. Wow.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what he's talking about, but yeah, maybe aesthetics wasn't his thing.
Does he know what he's talking about? He used to use 190mm cranks.
Oh, yes, they've gone out of fashion, haven't they?
Yeah, they have,
plenty of them on the market these days.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, whilst we're talking about live racing, we thought we'd also mention the fact that we have got some live racing, which is free to view on GCN Racing this coming Saturday. So from 15 not 1500, 1700 GMT, you'll be able to watch the second Zwift Games, which is the first of 3 Saturdays actually, so it culminates in a couple of weeks' time on Saturday, March the 22nd. I'm going to be joined by a couple of experts who actually know what they're talking about on the evening, so I would love it if you could join me. We should also mention the Zwift Academy as well. We've got a different time, haven't we, this Saturday?
Well, that's right. You might be thinking, oh, there's a clash. But no, Zwift Academy is moving forward by 1 hour. So Zwift Academy finals will be going live at 4. Premiering, that was the word I was looking for.
It premieres at 4 p.m. that day. And it's in that episode, the final, that we're going to announce the 2 winners of the pro contract. So you do not want to miss it. And don't worry, we are going to get onto the comments about size jeans, well, some positive ones, a little bit later on.
No positive comments about the trousers, were there?
No. Next time on Zwift Academy, the finalists tackled the last challenge to show the coaches they have what it takes to survive the brutal world of pro cycling.
That was terrible.
Come on! Last minute push, come on! The pro contracts are on the line.
I have never experienced something like this before.
I honestly hope that it could have been like more decided by this point.
And 2 finalists will go home as pro cyclists.
And the rider that will be turning professional
Is...
And now it's time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and we're going to start with the news that Canyon have just launched a new customization program called MyCanyon. It is rolling out on the Aeroad CFR model at the moment, and it's going to give people the opportunity to choose one of several custom and even hand-painted finishes, plus key fit items like crank length and cockpit dimensions, as well as wheels, tyres, saddle, and of course, group set.
Now, seeing as I'm in need of a new bike for my new cycling challenge, I wore my old one outside, of course, I've signed up for one as well. I'm going for a hand-painted design inspired by the largest known nebulae in our universe.
Which is potentially symbolic, because halfway from Manchester to London, we are going to witness an explosion worthy of a cloud formed by a dying star.
It wasn't that, it's because I like the look of it, to be honest. Anyway, some news from the UK now. Cycling and walking charity Sustenance have conducted some research among children, and they have found a huge discrepancy between the number of boys who cycle regularly compared to girls. So 27% of boys cycled 5 times a week compared to just 17% of girls. And while Sustenance haven't been able to pin down why that is the case just yet, they did highlight that safety was a major concern for all kids on bikes.
Yeah, this is UK research, isn't it? I do wonder if there's still a lot of inbuilt bias from parents as to what girls and boys supposedly like to do.
I think if that is the case, it's a sign of how many people view cycling as anything other than normal, pretty much. In the Netherlands, more women than men cycle.
Is that right?
Yeah, so 29% versus 27%, I think it was. Getting more people on bikes is something that local authorities are battling with all over the world. However, a trial in Denver, Colorado, moving on, raised some eyebrows, both in terms of how they were doing it and particularly in terms of how successful it was.
Yeah, so apparently the city spent $447,000 on experimental initiatives with paying people to cycle, proving to be the most successful during and then, importantly, after the trial.
101 people were chosen for this and were either paid $1 for a mile to cycle, up to 200 miles, or given vouchers to spend on bikes or accessories, plus training and coaching, or they were paid $1 a mile and given training.
Now, those who cycled the most were the dollar per mile group, but those that experienced the most significant long-term changes received the money and the training.
It'd be interesting to know whether paying someone $200 a month to cycle would actually be less than the cost to healthcare, wouldn't it?
Ooh.
I mean, given the proven benefits there are of cycling.
Yeah, OK, so I did have a little Google about this, Dan. So the rough cost of medical treatment for a patient in the US suffering from cardiovascular disease is about $15,000 to $20,000 a year. So if that stats from my video last week that says that commuting by bike reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease by 30%, theoretically, it would more than pay for itself, wouldn't it?
That sounds like a decent theory to me. That's mad, though, to think
It is,
about,
isn't
isn't it? So the benefits of cycling would outweigh paying everyone $200 a month to ride. Happy days.
Yeah. Try telling that to some of the people of Toronto. Dan. Now, we've spoken before about the Premier, Doug Ford, who is seemingly hell-bent on ripping out bike lanes, and this one now popped onto our radar as well. City councillors are being sued for $10 million by some local business owners because apparently a particularly controversial bike lane on Bloor Street has caused, and I quote, huge suffering for our community.
So weird how bike lanes can be so controversial. It's sort of amusing and depressing in pretty much equal measures.
Yeah, maybe someone should offer Doug Ford $1 a mile and see if he changes his tune.
Well, let's see, shall we? Anyway, speaking of changing tunes, how about this for an altogether calmer story? Suki, a Japanese company dedicated to preserving and promoting traditional craftsmanship, are offering members of the public the opportunity to knit their own high-quality socks by pedalling a static bike that powers a knitting machine.
This sounds absolutely amazing,
It does, doesn't it? So apparently, the workshop on socks provides an immersive experience guiding participants through the complete process of sock making. After the knitting phase, Suki's skilled staff steps in to sew the toes and apply a press finish, ensuring that the socks are ready to wear.
Sign me up.
I quoted that, obviously.
Genuinely, sign me up. There is very little better than a totally banging pair of socks. Imagine riding and knitting banging socks at the same time.
I mean, each to their own side, although I did knit quite a lot as a child, incidentally.
Did you?
Next up, one rider who can knit a hell of a lot of socks, Mathew Lefthand, who's just set a new US national record for the greatest distance cycled in 24 hours, clocking up 576 miles or 926 Ks.
We will get back to you knitting in a minute. Now, it's only 100 kilometres behind the world record of ultra-human Christoph Strasser, but Mathew hasn't stopped there. He's also subsequently set a 24-hour Zwift record, 514.68 miles, at an average power of 266 watts. 24 hours!
24 hours. Now, it is competition time. So we've got 2 jerseys up for grabs, signed by either the Alpecin de Koning team or the Canyon SRAM Zondas Crypto squad.
Yes, so these are exclusive Zwift Academy jerseys, and this is, of course, ahead of the grand final episode this Saturday, where we will learn which of our 8 finalists are going to win one of the 2 professional contracts.
Tensions are sky high at
Oh,
this
yeah.
point, aren't there? There's been loads and loads of chat in the comment section under the most recent episodes as to who is looking to be the favourite man and the favourite woman, so make sure that you catch up with them if you haven't done so already.
Yes, and if you want to be in with a shout at winning one of the jerseys, though, click on the link beneath this video.
Just one small problem. You're going to have to answer what is quite a tricky question. What were the 20-minute power numbers of the pro riders Maddie Leroux and Mathieu van der Poel in the Zwift races on episode 3?
Oh. I mean, when we say tricky, they've just got to watch episode 3 and it's written on screen, haven't they?
Do you know what? I watched episode 3 and I can't actually remember the specific numbers.
No, that's a fair
This
point.
could work out very well for us, Si, because we're going to get extra views on the video.
Thanks,
Genius.
guys.
Next up, it is hack/Bodge of the week. You can get involved in this part of the show, of course. All you need to do is submit your photos and or videos of your own hacks or bodges or those that you see out and about. Go to globalcyclingnetwork.com/uploader.
Uploader. Right, first hack/Bodge of the week is this one from Alex Schaefer. Usually, I use a shim under my cleat to compensate for my leg length discrepancy, but for my new Brompton, I needed a solution for flat pedals. So I took the standard Brompton pedal apart, CAD designed a thicker pedal body, had it laser cut and anodized. Problem solved without having to wear weird elevated shoes for cycling. How cool is that?
I think this is genius,
Yeah.
personally, Si. I mean, for those of you that are just listening to this show in podcast format, they are both quite basic-looking pedals, aren't they?
Yeah, but
one's a lot
they look
thicker than the other.
identical.
Well, that's the point they're going to get around to.
Oh, sorry.
Like, he's done such a fantastic job at replicating the look of one pedal to the other, albeit one's a lot thicker than the other to account for the leg... I can't speak today.
No, you can't.
Leg length discrepancy.
Maybe you just better go back to knitting.
I wasn't very good at that either, as we deciphered.
Oh, God, right, okay. So you better say hack for that one?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, right. Next
Nick
up.
Moss wrote in to say, discovered on the morning of a ride that had a spongy front brake, so I needed to do a swift bleed. No stand available, so needed wheel in. Also, couldn't be bothered to take out the pads and swap to bleed block. Oh, sorry, I see what you mean.
No, yeah, that doesn't sound good.
No. So took a silver food tray, cut to fit over the disc and around the bleed port, protecting the disc and the pads. Bonus functions, bent up at the bottom to catch dropped fluid and hold the syringe. Bob's your dad's brother, never heard that one before. Time saved and bled for the ride.
Wow.
I see Bob's your uncle. See what he did there?
Yeah.
I'm a bit slow as well today.
I mean, it seems like quite a high-risk strategy, but if it's worked, then why not? I mean, I wouldn't recommend it at all, but...
I don't think I'm knowledgeable enough on this whole thing to pass judgment.
Well, I mean, I'm not a brake bleeder, Dan. It is one of those jobs that I feel like I've sort of stepped away from cycling. Like, it's supposed to be super easy. I've done it a couple of times. But it's more like, if you get any oil and it contaminates your pads, then they don't really like that. Or your rotor.
I may have done a video on disc brake bleeding at some point.
I think you might have done, mate.
I was heavily helped by some Shimano mechanics at the time.
I think I remember that. So, I mean, I've got to say Bodge, right? Even though it's worked, I just think as a general rule, that's probably a Bodge, isn't it?
Okay, well, I'll go with you then.
Yeah, it's a Bodge. It's a Bodge.
Okay. What have we got next?
CLH has sent this in. Saw this in a car park at Kendall College here in the UK. Helpfully, they've said, I have no idea. So,
I'm not sure I've got any idea on that either.
Oh, God, this is one of those ones we're trying to describe. So it's like a trike. So there's two back wheels parallel with each other, but then there's no front wheel. However, there are a set of handlebars. So I wonder if it's like...
and the set of handlebars are jammed against the wall.
I wonder whether it's actually like a trailer, but instead of it being towed behind a bike, someone carries the handlebars like behind them. Do you know what I mean? So a bit like a kind of human carried chariot.
Yeah, maybe it is.
So
I mean, it certainly looks old, doesn't it?
it does look old, and even if it was actually a human powered chariot, I'd probably have to call it a Bodge.
Really?
The only thing I've got to say is those wheels, they've got really nice rims on there. I do like a dark...
Actually, the wheels don't look as old as the rest of the contraption.
dark rim with a nice tan wall tyre on there.
Yeah.
Classy.
I'm still going Bodge.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, brilliant. That's that one done and dusted then. Moving
It
on.
is, yeah.
Eric Sue. My cousin generously gifted me with his old Look 555, which wasn't getting much usage these days. Still in pretty good shape, except for the broken plastic external cable grommets on both sides of the head tube. Found some spare round brass stock, so I proceeded to machine the replacements on my lathe. When done, I polished them to really shine them up, and before installing, I glued on some cork to prevent the new metal parts from scratching/rubbing on the frame.
Hold up.
This is amazing.
I've got to zoom in here. Now, I'm not familiar with the peculiarities of the Look 555. Do you think they're screwed in to the head tube?
I guess they must be, yeah. They can't be stuck on like that, can they?
No. I mean, that's cool, isn't it? Like shiny cable guides bolted on.
It's almost such a hack, as in it's potentially better than the original product.
Whoa. You're saying it's too good?
Well, no, it's just
Gonna be disqualified.
the ultimate hack.
That is a good hack. Fair play to you, Eric. I like that. I think that's super cool.
Well, you said the broken plastic external cable grommets, and these are like...
high quality polished brass. Yeah, all right. I think we've got to say hack, haven't we? That's amazing.
Yeah, hack from me as well.
Nice one. Okay, that's a nice way to end off this week's Hack or Bodges. As Dan said, get involved. Click on the link beneath the video. What did you say the address was again?
globalcyclingnetwork.com/uploader.
Uploader. Like a total chopper, I've forgotten my GCN Camelback water bottle.
We have got some with us, but we'd have to walk 3 minutes away, wouldn't we, to go and get one?
I mean, that phrase, you only had one job, basically applies to this. Anyway, this is Caption competition, that part of the show where you get a chance to win a coveted GCN Camelback water bottle. Here you go.
Graphics people aren't that good, mate.
Here you go.
Well, actually, they are. Sorry.
They are. All you got to do is put a witty caption in the comment section down below that relates to a photo we're going to give you shortly, just after results from last week.
This was last week's photo of Tadej Pogacar riding up Jebel Hafit with a big rock in the background. What I hadn't noticed that quite a few viewers pointed out in their captions that they left in the comments was that it looks like he's riding on the guardrail.
It does, actually, doesn't it? Yeah, a bit like a high wattage Danny McCaskill.
Yes, exactly that.
That might have actually improved your caption from last week.
I know, it would have given me some help at least.
It would, yeah. Go on, who's the winner then?
The winner, though, is Jake Collins, 6097, who put caption. Have the peloton taken the wrong road again?
I see what you did
Related
there.
to what was one race at the time, which was the first stage of the Vuelta al Garve, where the peloton went down the wrong road. Happened again on Saturday at a race in France, Fourndrome Classic, I think it was.
That sounded like it was the rider's fault, though, for following the motorbike as opposed to following the race route.
Well, quite possibly. I mean, we'll just blame it on somebody.
Blame
shouldn't
the
we?
riders. To be fair, we did also get corrected last week in the comments after we said that would never happen in Formula One.
It's happened loads of times,
It's
apparently.
happened loads of, yeah. I don't think they've gone the wrong way, but they finished in the pit lane, haven't they?
Yes. Yeah, apparently Michael Schumacher did it, and there were lots of complaints, but the results stood. They were just very clever in
Yeah.
terms of doing it as a tactic, but it's happened other times as well.
There you go, yeah. So it does happen in F1, but maybe not quite as badly as in Algarve.
No, it probably wouldn't be as dangerous either, would it?
Yeah, anyway, this week's photo, I've just caught a glimpse of Wout van Aert's helmet again. I mean, at least it elicits laughter, which is probably positive, isn't it? Anyway, here we go. Wout van Aert having a chat to Tom Pidcock.
At the start of Omloop Newsblad on Saturday.
Yeah, go on, Dan, get
both
started.
Red Bull athletes, if you're listening to this, they've both got Red Bull coloured helmets on, but Wout is using the aforementioned Giro Aerohead that we talked about at the top of the show. I'll get you started then. Hey, Tom, Red Bull gives you wings, doesn't it? Do you ever feel like your wings have been clipped?
Oh, brutal. Pidcock's not going to answer yes to that, is he?
Well, no, but he hasn't got the aero helmet on, has he?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm just sort of saying that maybe his wings feel like they've been clipped because of the style of helmet he's having to wear. Or maybe we're just overblowing this whole subject.
Maybe we are.
Yeah.
It's a shame that you got the Jayco guys in the background looking really cool.
They're purple, yeah.
Oh,
They do
God.
look pretty cool, don't they?
They do, though. It's
anyway.
cool kit, that.
We're rabbiting on. Give us your best caption in the comments below. We'll give you a GCN Camelback water bottle next week. We'll pick out a winner at least. A few comments now before we get on to what's coming up on GCN this week. And we are going to start with some comments from underneath Zwift Academy episode 3.
Yes, people are loving it, aren't they?
They are absolutely loving it, Si. Hopefully you're ready at home and hopefully you're ready for this, Si. Ready?
Ready?
Tim Kilwins. Has Si been washing all the team bikes in those jeans after filming? I must have missed the cyclocross episode. Stephen Beckett wrote in saying, thinking of starting a GoFundMe page to buy Si some new jeans. If it goes well, will you get him a washing machine as well?
I think we'll probably leave it there, Dan. I know there's quite a few comments to choose from. I mean, I have been quite surprised just how much my jeans have been rinsed.
In the comments.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like they've been rinsed much before the comments.
No. I mean, they had, like in 2023, I think they had a good wash, possibly.
I mean, you'll be pleased to know that although you can't see it, Si has been out to some shops and purchased some new jeans, hasn't he?
I
Slash
have.
pants.
I'm not immune to comments, Dan.
It's really taken them to heart.
Well, I mean,
As you should.
yeah.
Meanwhile, Veloman59 put gripping stuff. Nice to see Si and Dan at Blanca Bikes Cafe with the Colorates looming in the background.
Yeah, that was nice, wasn't it? So we pitched up there during a rainstorm.
Oh, it's hammering it down.
And there were all these poor bike riders coming down out of the mountains who clearly been completely unprepared for the horrific weather. And the lovely people in the cafe were armed with blankets,
Yeah.
weren't they? They were literally wrapping up, cyclists.
There was
as
a
they
woman
in.
came in, wasn't there? And she had shorts on and the brightest, reddest legs I think I've ever seen because it was so cold out there and presumably she just descended down to the cafe.
Yeah.
She was only there about 3 minutes before she went off. I would have been there for about 3 hours
Well,
warming up.
Like the old guy who
Got
had
a taxi back.
hypothermia, yeah. And then Greg Van Avermaet rolled in and was just like, hey guys, no problem. Off he went. Just clearly, completely.
Like a true Belgian.
Basically, yeah. There was also another comment actually I picked out from Dory Diavelonart. Do you think that's Diavelonart? Anyway, she said all these young riders need to be proud. They are excellent. And
That's a very good point.
I think we should, absolutely pick that one out because all of the finalists, irrespective of the result, have been amazing, haven't they? It's
And they
easy
were
to
just very
forget.
good sports on and off camera. I
Yeah,
think, as
and
well.
it's easy to forget how young they all are.
Oh man, yeah. I think they're like policemen, aren't they? They just feel younger every year because we're getting older. Right, underneath last week's show, Nick and Jay wrote in and say 141 watts average. I knew I was good enough to ride in the pro peloton.
Yeah, there you go. Francois Stockart said, although the Algarve sprint obviously makes for funny viewing, I wish you'd called out the organiser for putting people at risk. I don't know quite. like, I guess it is the organiser's fault, but also, like it happens, doesn't it? Like, bike racing's so dynamic. It's like we probably shouldn't expect organisers to have the riders in like a hermetically sealed bubble.
No, I mean,
I don't know,
it happens at some of the biggest races in the world that have a far larger budget to organise these things and organise the closed roads and the rolling road closure, etc. So at the smaller pro races with a smaller budget, it's difficult to ensure that everyone stays safe at all times. So yes, you're right, it shouldn't happen. It's kind of inevitable sometimes, unfortunately.
It is a little bit, and I also can't help but, you know, a lot of these smaller race organisers, like, they're struggling to make ends meet, aren't they? We've lost a lot of races off the calendar, and you do wonder whether if, like, too many things happen and people start calling them out, they'll just go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
I don't want riders to be at risk. I'm not saying that, but I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely happened for the Étoile de Bessèges, which is run by a group of volunteers that are trying to keep the race going, and they got lots of crap from all over the place.
Yeah.
Anyway, should move on, shouldn't we? Lightning routine underneath last week's show. So I think Dan should do his epic ride on his old Cervelo testing bike, as it was set up when he tried to race on it. Just trying to help Dan. Doesn't sound like much help to me.
To be fair, when I rode it for that video, do you remember?
Yeah.
Was it last year? It was well good.
Yeah.
It was
just need a time trial helmet.
You would, yeah.
And
Well,
that'd be good
to be fair,
go.
your old Cervelo testing kit was pretty aero.
Except
it
for the
was
helmet.
just the helmet that let you down. So maybe, yeah, if you had a Giro Aero head on,
Yeah.
you might, yeah. There would have been no stopping you in the Tour of Qatar.
No. Might have been
Tom Bonin would have.
Nah, probably wouldn't. Anyway, underneath Alex's video about can he get top 20 in the world's biggest gravel race, which is Unbound, of course. I want to go biking, he said. This may well be the most ambitious project any GCN presenter has ever endeavoured. Totally rooting for Alex. Good luck, mate. He's absolutely obsessed by this goal, actually.
He is, yeah. And he's like, every comment that sort of says like, ooh, not sure about that. It's like fire in his belly.
Yeah.
It's really impressive, yeah. But I agree, it is probably the most ambitious project that any GCN presenter has ever
It is.
taken on.
And I believe in him, actually.
I do, yeah.
He's so obsessed with it. I mean, unfortunately for Alex, trying to sort of prove the commenters wrong for him is much more difficult. You just had to go out and buy a pair of new jeans, Si. Job's are good, and
Yeah.
he's got to train really hard for months.
Yeah, he has, yeah. Now, this next comment, the name of this person will cause some debate here in, I was going to say the UK, actually probably England. It's either sconed or sconned. I would like to say sconned cyclist. Love Alex's optimism. He's like a starry-eyed child looking through the lens of life for the first time. Top 20 is a 0 to none chance. Even top 200 will be a challenge for Alex, especially as he's relatively new to gravel racing. Prove me wrong.
Oh, there is a smiley face at the end.
Yeah, there is.
It's almost like it's been deliberately antagonistical.
Yeah, now, I mean, don't get me wrong, right? I haven't ridden Unbound, but don't underestimate how good Alex was / still kind of is.
I'd love it if this stuff was all brought up when he rolls in 328.
Well, let's face it, I think Connor was like, there's only 82 guys in the pro field, so he's not going to come 200.
Oh. I might do it.
Yeah, you could roll a top 100.
Do you get a position if you pull out halfway through?
No.
No. All right. Anyway, moving
But I
on
mean,
to
Connor finished like 3 days after everyone else. So
moving on to what we've got coming up on the channel this week. On Wednesday, Hank is going to let you all know why he prefers riding on his own.
yes, absolutely.
I was surprised at that one, actually.
Yeah, I was too. Really, really surprised.
Quite a social character, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely is. And then on Friday, we've got the next instalment of Dan's journey back to cycling fitness,
Yes.
which is super cool.
This is where I went to ID Match to find out how my, presumably, less flexible muscles need fitting on a bike these days.
And you're rippling man boobs now.
Yeah, the excess muscle really makes it hard to sort of move
So
about.
you probably want to be a little bit more upright, don't you? Otherwise
Probably, yeah.
it's going to be weighing you down. You did say, I think it was last week, that you were going to start training on March the 1st.
March 2nd I did.
So you didn't start training. March the 1st was a rest day.
Well, no, I ran 45 minutes. Yeah, I didn't get on the bike. But yeah, March 2nd, went out 7:15 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
It was 0 degrees. Froze my fingers off.
Did you?
And then my toe. Weirdly, my toes were all right for the first 10 minutes.
How
My
long were you
fingers
out
cold.
for?
20? No, I did an hour and 3/4.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good
Gravel.
start. All right. And then
and-
rest day yesterday.
Yeah, I'll have a few rest days now.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I'm doing a ride on Wednesday, tomorrow.
Nice, okay.
Right.
And then, wait a minute,
Yeah.
we've already mentioned it several times this episode, but on Saturday it is, of course, Zwift Academy finals, 4 o'clock GMT, so 1 hour earlier. Watch the premiere. Come on, get involved. The only thing we were thinking, though, is don't look in the comment section until after you finish
Yeah, I was
watching.
thinking of saying that as well.
Because everyone
I
is
would
going to
have
be
forgotten.
in the comments going like, oh my goodness me, I can't believe Dan has won Zwift Academy.
Yeah.
And then that will spoil it for you.
Yeah, no, so don't look at the comments until after you've finished watching the episode.
And then get involved, revel in it. It's good. It's really good.
Right. What's that, an hour-long show? Hope you enjoyed it. Well done if you got to the end.